I'm sure you've been meeting lots of excited Twilight fans. Maybe you can start by telling us a little bit about how it felt when you knew you were going to be part of such a massive franchise.
I was over the moon when I found out that I was going to play Tanya Denali in the next Twilight instalments. I had literally put myself on tape, sent it off to the States, and 2 weeks later I got a call saying that I'd got the job. So it was surreal, to say the least.
Obviously, it's a franchise that people around the world have just fallen in love with. Why do you think people have become so obsessed and devoted to this particular series?
I think, well, first of all, I think Stephanie Myers wrote an incredible series of books, and she created characters that people could relate to, and that people wanted to relate to. And at the heart of her stories is this, Romeo and Juliet kind of love story. And I think everyone loves the idea of a big love, of a forever love, of finding somebody who's utterly devoted to you and finding your partner. And she created that for people. And now with the films being out there, you can sort of live in those worlds not only through reading the books but also on screen. And what's not to love about love? Come on, it's amazing.
Everyone loves love. Now, can you maybe tell us a little bit about your character and her role in this adventure?
Of course, I play Tanya Denali, who is the head of the Denali clan. The Denalis are cousins of the Cullens. They're vegetarian vampires, so they don't drink human blood. And Tanya is described as having a sort of carrying a flame, really, for Edward, which is never requited, because obviously his true love is Bella, and Tanya has to deal with this. But I feel very much when I read the books and also when I played the part that she has lived for so many years that she has learnt to have the grace to accept what she cannot have.
Tanya and Edward obviously have a certain chemistry. I'm sure a lot of fans are going to want to know, what's Rob like when he's not in character, and what was it like working with him?
Rob is just a really lovely guy. He's just very sweet and a lot of fun to work with. And in fact, everyone on the films were just lovely, a joy to be around. So I understand why he's so popular.
Clearly, Tanya's on Team Edward. It's the question that all Twilight fans ask themselves and want to know what the stars think. I mean, Team Edward, Team Jacob, your thoughts?
Tanya's definitely Team Edward. MaiAnной Bering's definitely on the fence. I love them both. How do you choose? They're so different and they're so great. So I just said earlier that I think it depends how I feel when I wake up. One day I'm Team Edward, one day I'm Team Jacob, and I know that's fickle, but I stand by that.
Obviously, you play a vampire in the film. If you were given the choice in real life, vampire, human, or werewolf, what would you go for?
Oh, goodness gracious, vampire, every time. Every time. They're just incredible.
Why?
Well, vampires are just incredibly sexy, incredibly cool, really. And especially if you're a vampire with good morals, like Tanya Denali is, then thumbs up all the way from me.
There's so much excitement about Breaking Dawn at the moment. How close is it going to be to the books? Because I think obviously fans are expecting there maybe are going to be some changes, and some things will be there, some things won't, some things might be a bit different. Can you tell us anything about that?
Do you know, I think the film script is very close to the book script, actually. There are some changes that have been made, but they're changes that have had to be made in order to make it better for the cinema. There's some stories that are easier to tell in a novel than they are on screen. And so all of the changes, I think, are just in order to make sure that the story is told as well as possible on screen. So I don't think they're disappointing changes. In fact, I would say that they're great changes that have been made, and positive ones.
Are there any particular scenes or sequences that you think fans are going to be blown away by? I mean, is there anything you particularly enjoyed making?
Well, I mean, I think the fans are going to be really excited, obviously, about the honeymoon sequence that's coming up in the first Breaking Dawn. I'm really excited to see that on screen now. But I think fans are going to be excited as well about just the sheer scale of the films, in particular the second film. It's quite awesome. Being on set, it was awesome to see it, and I have a feeling that it's going to be quite awesome to see it on screen as well.
You mentioned a bigger scale there. I mean, tonally, is it going to be a little different as well? It seems like it might be a bit darker and a bit sexier than maybe some of the other films.
Absolutely. I think Bill Condon is doing something quite special with it. Bill Condon is such an amazing director, and I think is going to bring something very special to these next two films.
Twilight fans around the world have obviously become quite obsessed with this, and when they meet people, they get very excited. Have you had any good or bad fan experiences so far?
I've only had lovely fan experience. People being absolutely gorgeous to me and about the films, and I'm very grateful for it.
Do you have a message to those fans watching here and around the world?
I really hope that you enjoy these next two instalments. It's been an absolute dream for me to be a part of them, and I'm over the moon to be a part of this big franchise, and I'm also excited to see how everyone reacts to it. I think it'll be a great ending to an incredible saga.
Just before you go, what else have you got coming up? I think you've got a few other things we can look out for as well.
That's right. I've got a film called Kill List that is being released now in September in the UK. It's a completely different story to Twilight. It's a dark, much darker film. It's rated 18 and rated 18 for a reason, but it was fantastic to film with a great director called Ben Wheatley. And then currently I'm filming a BBC Two series called White Heat.
You're very busy, so I think we're going to have to let you go and get back to all of those things. Thank you so much for talking to us, and we can't wait for all of those things.
Been such a pleasure. Thank you.